Hi, I'm Conor Pendergrast from customersuccess.cx,
And I'm Jen from Tettra.
and welcome to episode 4 of Support Stack. So, Jen, we're talking about quite a fun topic today. Topics. We're talking about topics. The topic of today is topics. So I don't know about you, but one of the things I find with Intercom is that there are opportunities out there to improve how Finn is performing and to improve how the whole support experience is going, really. But the challenge is, where do you focus? Like, how do you find those needles in the haystack, or how do you find those opportunities? So what I had suggested is we look at topics as a way of doing that. Are you happy for us to do that, Jen?
Absolutely. I have it up on my screen.
That's super. Okay, so for those who are not familiar, Topics Explorer, Topics is an Intercom built-in feature. And so you get to it, Jen, thank you, reminding me the pathway to it is through Finn AI Agent, and then you're going to go into Topics Explorer, which is a beta feature at the moment, but I think it's pretty cool and it's working very well for us, for me and my clients. And so what it does is it's Intercom defines these topics. So that's the first thing to know. These are not topics that you are setting down in stone. I've seen some of their recent webinars. They're going to allow a little bit more input into how topics are generated and defined, but that's not today. That will be in the future. It's basically, it looks through and has a bit of a guess based on the content of a conversation. So what we've done here with your Intercom setup, Jen, is we've looked from the beginning of the year to today. So that's the year to date option, because we want to get a nice big sample. So as many conversations as you can. And in this case, I suggested we look at the resolution rate. So that's Finn's resolution rate. You can also look at CX score if you want to look at more general ideas of, okay, CX score is the customer experience score. It's a measure of how Intercom thinks the customer support experience was handled. It's not rated by the customer, so it has a much higher coverage rate than CSAT surveys would, but it's still Intercom's guess based on their AI of how the customer experience was and whether it was a good experience or a bad experience or somewhere between. But today we're looking at resolution rate. So you've got this, like, I can't remember the name of this type of chart, but I think it's pretty. It's color coded and it's got boxes that go bigger for more volume topics and smaller for lower volume topics. And then the colors here, because we're in the day mode, in the light mode, the darker the color, the lower the resolution rate, the lighter the color, the higher resolution rate. So there's one, exactly as you're looking at, Jen, here. GuideMaker browser usage and troublemaking has a 33.3% resolution rate. Like, we've all seen, the Tettra resolution rate is very high for Finn. It's a solid 65% ish. What's going on, Jen? Why is it doing so terribly? Surely things are going terribly here.
This is one of our newest tools that we have brought into the family of Tettra tools. And so GuideMaker, we probably don't have as much documentation about it.
Well, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like an opportunity. But the question is, I guess, what would you do? So now there's a gap here, but surely, how do you then do something about it? What would you do, Jen? Where would you go next?
Good question. So if we go over to Finn and where we are now, and then down to test. So this is where we can play around with what Finn does. So we've got, as you were telling me earlier, in the center, we have these questions, and then we have the answers where we can rate the responses here. But there's more to it than that. I'm sure you're going to tell me.
I'm going to make a suggestion. So we just saw that terribly performing topic earlier with the 33% resolution rate. What is going on? So here's, dear listener, dear watcher, you can do something about that. And the best thing to do is actually, you can test against that group. So that will give you questions, and Finn will try its best to answer them based on the content data and actions it has available. So, Jen, let's click on the top. Let's do a new group.
Right.
Let's go and set up a new group for this. And you could do create new group. And so this, I've forgotten the name of it already, but it was
Guide
called
Maker?
something.
Guide
Guide
Maker?
Maker. Thank you
Yeah,
very
maybe
much.
we'll call the
Yes.
group that. Okay.
Guide Maker, why not? And so there are options. Intercom gives you 3 sets of options here. You can generate from the inbox being customer support conversations, or if this is if you're maybe setting up Intercom for the first time, you don't have a lot of customer support conversations, you can add them manually, either typing them in or via CSV. CSV would be useful, for example, if you had a bunch of data somewhere that you wanted to generate conversations from, and you asked your favorite GPT, your GPT of choice, to generate questions for you. That could be a good way of creating a CSV of conversations for you to then upload here. You could get your help site, paste it into Claude or ChatGPT or whatever, or Gemini, and then have it create answers in a customer's voice. In this case, though, we're just going to use generate from an inbox. So let's, in particular, we're not going to do all conversations because that's not where we want to focus. We want to narrow our focus. We're going to do by topic. And in this case, it's the Guide Maker browser use topic. So Jen, you can click create there, and then we'll talk through while it's creating those. It's generating the questions. So while it's generating the questions, what it does is it goes and it looks through past conversations where it was able to work out what the topic of the conversation was and put it into this bucket. And so that means you are getting a bunch of different variations on different conversations and different questions that customers will have asked. And then Finn will try and answer those questions based on the content, data, and actions that are available to it. And it's really, this is kind of one of my favorite parts of Intercom and Finn, because it can very quickly give you an idea about the quality of the interactions and also allows you to do something about it and then retest. So Jen, you can see Finn has generated questions in the middle here, 10 questions, great. And it also has generated answers on the right-hand side. And you can very quickly go through these because it's got little keyboard shortcuts. So there's only 10 of these, but you could do G for G for good, A for acceptable, P for poor. And importantly, you can add internal notes. So for someone like me, I come into a company, my expertise is not in a client's product. My expertise is in Intercom and Finn, driving up resolution rates, driving up customer satisfaction, driving up CX scores. I don't know the products. So when I get someone to go through this, I have one of their product experts review these responses and rate them and add notes for what was wrong or what was right here. So now you can see, if you scroll up slightly, you can see that it has the question and it also has this detailed response from Finn. And so this is a good way of seeing what actually happens when Finn is interacting with these questions. And if you scroll right down, it's a pretty long answer. So it also has the content that it drew from and the guidance that it used.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it says it tells you which part of the guidance it used. It's using a neutral tone. It's comprehensive, which is why it's getting longer answers. And then click on other there as well. Other is the data connector, I think of this. Yeah, so it's the data connector. Other is the data connector. So that's going and checking your Tettra status page to see if there are any incidents that it could talk about as well. So content, if we're thinking about content here, you can click into any of those. Their content snippets is the middle one, and then help articles are the first and third. And so you can review this and then decide, is this a good answer? Is it an acceptable answer? Is it a poor answer? And then when you are happy and you've reviewed all of these, you can then filter and say okay, let's focus on poor first. What would Finn need to know? What would Finn need to be able to do to fully answer this question and push it from poor to an acceptable or from a poor to a good? And so that's where it comes back to that thing I've said here before, which is what's the content, what's the action, what's the data that Finn needs in order to fully answer this question, fully resolve this question. It could be editing content, it could be removing duplicate content, removing out-of-date content, adding data that gets pushed from your systems so that Finn is better able to interpret the content, or it could be actions. So maybe using a data connector and a Finn task to go off and grab information and bring it back in to Intercom and into Finn to be able to fully answer the question. So that's where you would use the testing suite. And like, tell me about your thoughts on this, Jen.
My thoughts are I really need to go back into documentation because all of this content is regarding Tettra and not regarding GuideMaker, the specific tool within
Yeah.
our suite of tools. And so I would rate this poor because it's answering for the wrong tool, but I
Yeah.
would just make a note here. And then I can go through and look at each of these and rate them and then kind of see if I went through all of them, I probably see that at least hopefully some of them are pulling from GuideMaker content, not Tettra content. So,
Yeah.
but then I probably would ask someone to update that and then
Yeah.
test it again.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that could be an example. So given you have multiple products, and that's a good example of where data is going to help to get a better give Finn a better ability to answer a question right. So by pushing into Intercom, the fact that someone is a GuideMaker user, it will then Finn can use that, and you can set up guidance that says this is the field that says that they're a GuideMaker user. If you see this, then interpret their question through GuideMaker and give them the right information based on that. So that's exactly what I mean when I say that the content, because the content for GuideMaker might be there already, but if it's not there, Finn definitely can't do the work. But the same with data. Like if the data is not there, then it's going to be a lot less likely to provide a spot on answer. Cool.
Yeah, this is cool. We uncovered something I want to dig into here. So thanks for that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right here, live on the episode. Well, thank you very much, Jen Weaver, for being here on another clip of Support Stack. This is episode number 4. If people were delighted by your presence here, which I think they should be, how would they find out more about you, and how could they be useful to you?
Sure, LinkedIn. Connecting with me on LinkedIn is my preferred way for you to connect. But also, when you do that, I have a newsletter just for support leaders that's available on LinkedIn. It has both my podcast, Live Chat with Jen, which is for support leaders, and also my Friday newsletter, which is a roll-up of all the podcasts in support in the week. So
Fantastic.
Every Friday. Yeah.
That's amazing. Every Friday. I would recommend both. Would recommend
you.
connecting with your LinkedIn and subscribing to that.
Yeah.
And if you, go on, Jen.
No, go ahead.
And if you, dear watcher, would like to get future episodes, you can subscribe to my email list, which is at customersuccess.cx/daily, where you will get a week daily email from me, and it will include these videos in the future. It's all about Intercom and customer support leaders, and very rarely about anything else. So that's the good news. Thank you. Bye.
That's awesome.